Well, partly, at least, in response to the new power and influence of the independents, the big spend will soon be on in the bush. The Regional Development Minister, Simon Crean, today called on rural communities to be creative, constructive and strategic and come up with their own plans for sustainable economic development. But even if there is a steady stream of money being redirected to the country, the flow of people is still going the other way. From council incentives to cheap rental schemes, small towns have thrown everything at trying to hold on to people or attract new settlers. But the real solution might lie with businesses fed up with city costs and congestion, taking their operations across the divide. Tim Palmer reports.
It's peak hour in Greenthorpe, where the drenching rains of the past few months have raised spirits after a hard, dry decade, which saw the rail line close and the population, as in so many similar towns, leak away from the little central west New South Wales village.
There has been a significant number of years where the youngest, and I wouldn't say the brightest, but a lot of the young people left town because of the need for education and the need for jobs and careers.
A number of small communities offering $1 a week homes.
Turn your $1 coin into a home.
It's $1.
$1 houses are the kind of novelty current affairs shows in the cities can't resist. The story of how shrinking towns have organised to rent empty farmhouses for next to nothing began in the New South Wales Central West, and now Greenthorpe's joined in.
Most of the people in our village are sort of 40 plus, I would say. There's a few families, but we wanted a few more.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Lewis.
Danielle Allen's motivation was to get enough new children in the town to guarantee Greenthorpe's school and preschool would keep their teachers.
We have all these empty farmhouses. Nearly every second property here would have an empty cottage of some sort, and the farmers don't have time to maintain them necessarily. It seemed a bit of a waste, so we thought, well, we'll try. We'll see if anyone's interested in a different lifestyle and being part of a small community and showing them what we enjoy here.
As far as securing how the school runs, the Cheap Houses scheme has worked.
We've got 7 or 8 children that wouldn't be in the school otherwise, which is fantastic. And our second teacher at the school is there 4 days a week and will there shortly be there 5 days a week. So it's been very positive for Greenthorpe.
But as the novelty of the scheme wore off for some, so did the appeal of living in Greenthorpe.
We have had 6 families come and we've had about a 50% retention rate. Some of them, they weren't prepared for what life is really like out here. It's quiet. You have to be very resilient and to make a lot of your own entertainment.
Without solid employment, COWRA Shire Mayor Bill West doubts the scheme can keep numbers once the new children finish school.
If we're not careful, we'll have people getting $1 a week rent. Yes, they prop up a school for a couple of weeks or a couple of years or maybe 10 years, but unless we do something to treat the disease, if you like, we're only treating the symptoms, and in 10 years' time, what do we do then?
I wish there was a catch-all answer. I wish there was one thing that you could do and it would drive growth in every region.
With the federal government poised to shunt billions into regional development, some have suggested more controls to funnel new migrants away from the major cities.
There's a large number of people coming on temporary visas now who are sponsored quite directly by an employer. So that means they end up being targeted right down to the community and the workplace that needs them most. So that targeting is working more effectively now than it has in the past, but I do have a view that we want to explore whether or not we can take that a step further.
Bill West believes that more fundamental change is needed to boost rural populations.
So I think there's a real need to address the problem, which is about getting industry, getting employment out into regional rural areas.
It's busy in Greenthorpe's shearing sheds now, but that's seasonal work. Danielle Allen admits appeals to lifestyle and cheap homes can't mask the village's fundamental problem.
Greenthorpe's never going to have a huge employment level itself. If we could diversify in some of the regional centres with other businesses unrelated to agriculture, it would be enormously beneficial.
That's the chance another of the shrinking villages dotted around COWRA is about to get. Woodstock, population about 250, has a butcher, general store and a pub. And it's in a small building behind the pub that the future of Woodstock is grinding into gear. This $1 million machine is the first stage in transforming a town. It can manufacture a dental crown in 40 minutes, working from digital plans scanned from patients all across Australia. But putting high tech in a tiny town has its problems.
It draws about 150 amps, which would black out the town of Woodstock. So we did actually have to get a generator to provide the power for this particular bit of a kit.
But while the locals didn't know it, Woodstock had something special to offer a high-tech company looking for a new base. This ordinary-looking little shed.
Because we needed to be within 500 metres of one of these to get access to the fibre optic internet that we're after.
By the time Race Dental has finished, Woodstock's mothballed grain silo will house the country's most modern dental lab, and the town will have anything up to 120 new skilled jobs. After decades of growth in Sydney, Brad Race says his company was in the end driven out of a city that's become a victim of its own size and success.
Sydney is just getting too hard to get around, too congested and too expensive to really scale your business like we intend to do.
Brad Race says he was surprised at the cheap facilities lying mothballed just over the divide, ready for new industries.
There's plenty of infrastructure out there, from old wool washing warehouses to grain terminals that are all latent at the moment.
And Woodstock had the appeal of a loyal, fixed workforce too.
So in Sydney, where you're generally a stepping stone to, as I said before, someone that wants to work closer to home or generally start up their own business, in the Central West, it just doesn't occur that way. They're happy to have the job and the stability that offers.
There's interest too from Brad Race's city-based staff to follow the company's moves west of the divide.
We showed them some of the places around COWRA, like quite nice 4-bedroom homes with pools and tennis courts and sheds and granny flats on 5 acres for sort of $450,000. That was very appealing to some of them, where you just can't get that sort of real estate and have that sort of lifestyle in Sydney.
Race Dental Laboratories' arrival is a major coup for the COWRA Shire.
It is a big deal. It is an exciting deal. If they get the 100 people that they're planning to, or plus, it'll be a very, very good development. And it's in an area, I guess, that opens up COWRA, particularly as showing that we can attract modern industry that do rely on modern technology to do their business.
Bill West says his region has the water and the facilities ready to nearly double in population.
We can most certainly probably take our population from a town population, 9,500 people, to 12,000, 15,000 people without any infrastructure stress whatsoever.
But in Greenthorpe, they're not waiting for the government money. They've come up with a new scheme to auction off blocks of land that the council has seized at, they say, never-to-be-repeated prices, hoping that ownership will build a more permanent attachment to the town than the cheap rent scheme.
People may see that as an opportunity to come out here and make something themselves rather than rent from a farmer on a property. And I do think people have a different level of ownership if they've researched it, they've invested in it, and those people are more likely to stay for the long term, for the long haul. I don't think you know what you're missing till you come out here, so I would say come and have a look.
Tim Palmer with that report.